The wrong woman can wreck your life without ever raising her voice. Not with one explosive scandal, but with slow erosion. Your focus gets hijacked. Your money leaks out in small requests. Your standards soften. Your confidence gets chipped. And months turn into years you will never get back. Because some women don't enter a man's life to build with him, they enter to consume your attention, your protection, your stability, your resources, your emotional labor, your time. And when they leave, they don't just take memories, they leave you with damage. Here's the part most men don't want to admit. Men rarely lose because they are weak. They lose because they ignore early patterns and keep calling it love until the pattern becomes a trap. So in this video, I'm breaking down 7 types of women you should never date. Not to bash women, not to generalize, not to play victim. This is about protection, about pattern recognition, about avoiding the kind of relationship that looks small at the beginning, then turns into a slow financial and psychological tax later. And I'm not just listing signs, I'm going to show you how these situations actually unfold in real life. The mindset that keeps good men stuck in bad dynamics. What to do the moment you see the pattern so you don't become another man who learns the hard way. Let's get into it. The principle that will save you years. Before we name the 7 types, you need one rule that explains everything. Healthy women want clarity. Unhealthy women benefit from confusion. Confusion is not romantic. Confusion is a strategy. It creates a space where she can receive relationship benefits without relationship accountability. A good man's weakness is not love, it's tolerance. He tolerates small disrespect early because he's trying to be chill, be understanding, not overreact, not be controlling. But the moment you tolerate a pattern, you teach her what you will accept. And once a woman learns you accept something, she has no reason to stop. Now let's break down the 7 types. 1. The liar by omission. This one is dangerous because it doesn't look like lying at first. She doesn't always say something false. She simply leaves out the part that changes your decision. She tells you a version of the story that keeps her image clean and keeps you moving forward. And early on, it's easy to miss because everything feels good. The chemistry is strong. She's sweet. The vibe feels effortless. But then you start feeling something you can't fully explain. You're always almost clear, but never fully clear. You ask direct questions and get answers that sound polished, but don't actually answer. You ask about something important, and somehow you end up defending why you wanted clarity in the first place. And then the details start arriving late. A name shows up later, like it's nothing. A timeline changes. A friend becomes an ex. A quick situation becomes a longer story. A work trip becomes something else. And here's why that matters. Late truth doesn't land like honesty. It lands like betrayal. Because you weren't given a fair choice. And when you finally react, notice what she does. She doesn't focus on what she hid. She focuses on your reaction. She calls you insecure. She calls you paranoid. She says you're overthinking. She acts like you're trying to control her life. But you're not asking for control. You're asking for clean information so you can choose with full awareness. A mature woman can be private without being slippery. A mature woman can set boundaries without using confusion as cover. Omission isn't, I forgot. Omission is, I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to decide with the full picture. And if she's comfortable doing that early, when she's still trying to impress you, it won't improve with time. It gets more refined, what it looks like in real life. She answers questions with stories instead of facts. She uses humor or charm to dodge accountability. She gets defensive when you ask for clarity, as if clarity is disrespect. You feel like you're always piecing together her life. What to do? You don't become a detective. You become a man with standards. Say it calmly once. I don't need details. I need honesty. If you can't answer direct questions directly, we're not compatible. Then watch behavior. If she gets cleaner and more consistent, good. If she shames you, blames you, or keeps dodging, you leave early. Because a relationship built on missing information always collapses later. 2. The transactional dater. This type doesn't date with her heart first. She dates with a calculator. She isn't thinking, is he a good man I respect? She's thinking, what can he do for me? And how fast can I get it? Let's be clear, providing is not the problem. A masculine man naturally provides. The problem is when she treats you like a service, not a partner. With transactional women, you can feel it in the tone. Conversation starts sounding like invoices. Warmth appears when spending appears. Respect becomes something you earn through what you give, not something you receive because you're a man with principles. It often comes as indirect pressure, not always a direct request, more like hints, expectations, subtle comparisons. Then, if you don't meet the unspoken demand, the energy shifts. She goes cold, distant, irritated, not because you did something wrong, but because you didn't perform the role she assigned you in her head. Then come the ego traps designed to manipulate men. A real man wouldn't hesitate. If you wanted to, you would. I'm used to a certain standard. Other men don't struggle with this. And many men fall for it because they don't want to look weak. So they start proving themselves, not realizing they're signing a contract. And once you accept the contract, it never ends because it was never about the one request. It's about the pattern. Affection is tied to what you provide. You don't notice how drained you are until you realize you've been paying to be treated well. A serious woman appreciates effort, but she doesn't reduce love to transactions. She can enjoy nice things and still respect you when you're not spending. She can value provision without turning you into an ATM with feelings, what it looks like early. She's sweet when you spend, neutral when you don't. She measures masculinity by what you buy. She escalates expectations fast. Small gifts become lifestyle demands. She responds to boundaries with guilt, disappointment, or contempt. What to do? You set a standard once, calmly. I'm generous with a woman who's consistent and respectful. I don't do entitlement. If your interest depends on what I buy, we should stop now. If she respects it, she'll adjust. If she punishes it, she exposed herself. 3. Single in public, taken in private. This one breaks men slowly, because in private she can be perfect. She can text you all day. She can call you her man. She can be affectionate, consistent, supportive. But outside, she acts available, not always with words, with behavior. She avoids being seen with you. She dodges introductions. She posts her nights out, outfits, trips, life updates. But your existence is missing like a deleted chapter. And when you bring it up, she doesn't address the pattern. She gives you a clean excuse. I'm private. I don't want people in my business. Why do you need to be posted? Privacy is real, but secrecy is different. Privacy protects the relationship. Secrecy protects options. If she's proud to receive from you privately, but hesitant to be seen with you publicly, that creates a specific insecurity in a man. He starts doing more to earn being claimed. He starts competing with invisible men. He starts questioning himself, but it was never your worth. It was her intention. If she benefits from you while keeping her public image open, you are not her man. You are her convenience. What it looks like. You haven't met friends or family months in. She avoids photos, events, public plans. She acts single online while accepting relationship effort offline. She gets defensive instead of reassuring and clarifying. What to do? Ask once, directly and calmly. I'm not asking for social media. I'm asking for alignment. Are you dating me openly or are you keeping yourself available? If she can't answer cleanly, that's your answer. A woman who truly respects you does not hide you. 4. The woman who uses sex, affection, or silence as a weapon. This doesn't show up loud. It shows up as conditioning. At first, she's warm, affectionate, consistent. Then slowly, love becomes a reward system. When you behave how she wants, you get warmth. When you disagree, set a boundary, or express a need, warmth disappears. Sometimes as silence, sometimes as coldness, sometimes as distance that feels like punishment. And you notice what happens inside you. You start chasing the good version of her. You replay conversations. You overanalyze your tone. You hesitate before being honest. That's the conditioning. She trains you to associate boundaries with losing peace. So you choose peace over truth. You choose quiet over self-respect. You start shrinking. And a man who shrinks long enough becomes anxious, reactive, bitter. Then she uses that version of you as proof that you're the problem. A mature relationship doesn't run on punishment. A mature woman communicates discomfort. She doesn't use intimacy like a remote control. What it looks like, affection, disappears when you disagree. Sex becomes a bargaining tool. Silent treatment replaces the communication. You feel like you're walking on eggshells to keep harmony. What to do? You don't chase. You call the pattern calmly. I'm open to talking. I'm not available for punishment, silent treatment, or emotional control. If something's wrong, communicate. If not, I'm going back to my life. Then you follow through, because the weapon only works when you chase. 5. The multiple providers. Woman. This is a modern trap because a woman can look single while being funded like she's in a relationship. One guy pays occasionally. Another helps with emergencies. Another covers nails, hair, food, transport. Another is always just a friend. And she presents it like it's normal. But grown men don't consistently finance a woman with zero expectations, zero entitlement, and zero strings. Even if she claims nothing is happening, the deeper issue is still there. She is comfortable receiving relationship level support without relationship level commitment. So when you become her man, you're not becoming the only provider. You become the main provider while the others stay in the background. And the moment you say, "Not this time," she has a network. Most men tolerate it because they don't want to look insecure. But standards are not insecurity. Standards are self-respect. What it looks like, "My friend helps me sometimes," is constant. She has orbiters who do boyfriend tasks. She gets defensive when you ask what the arrangement is. She expects you to accept unclear male access to her life. What to do? Be calm and direct. I don't date women who keep men around for support and attention. If you want a relationship, your life has to match that. If she chooses you, she'll clean it up. If she argues that you're controlling, she exposed the truth. She wants relationship benefits without boundaries. 6. The future seller. This one doesn't beg. She markets. She sells you a future to keep you investing in a present that stays undefined. She speaks in big promises. "We're going to build. I see you as my husband. You're different. I've never felt this with anyone. And it hits men deeply because men don't just want sex. Men want meaning. Men want loyalty, legacy, a woman who feels like a home. So you invest more time, protection, patience, money, emotional labor. But the future never arrives. The relationship stays vague. Exclusivity stays unclear. Accountability stays missing. And when you ask for structure, she flips it into emotion. Why are you rushing? Why can't you just trust me? I thought you loved me. Now you're afraid to ask for clarity because asking makes you the villain. That's how good men get trapped. They get shamed for wanting basic direction. What it looks like: big talk, small action, promises of marriage while refusing exclusivity, soon becomes months, then years. Any request for clarity becomes a guilt trip. What to do? You ground it in behavior. I respect future talk, but I follow actions. If we're building, we define it and move like it. If not, we keep it casual or we end it. Then you match your investment to reality, not to hope. Time doesn't turn words into actions. Character does. 7. The attention addict. This type isn't always evil, but she's dangerous for a man who values peace. Because she isn't loyal to you first. She's loyal to validation. She needs to feel wanted constantly. So even in a relationship, she behaves like she's still advertising herself. Flirty DMs, orbiters, male best friend with blurry boundaries, keeping exes warm, posting for thirst, being friendly in a way that invites options. And if you raise a concern, she reframes it. I'm just social. You're insecure. You're controlling. I can't be myself around you. But a man can feel the difference between a woman who is for him and a woman who is for attention. A woman can be beautiful, confident, outgoing, and still disciplined. Respect doesn't require hiding. It requires boundaries. What it looks like: she constantly needs external male confirmation. She dismisses your discomfort instead of understanding it. She keeps backup options just in case. She treats commitment like a cage but expects loyalty from you. What to do? You don't compete with the world. You set a clean standard. I'm not interested in building with someone who needs outside validation. If you want a serious relationship, your behavior has to protect it. If she's mature, she'll understand. If she needs attention more than peace, she'll resist. And that tells you everything. The mistake that keeps men stuck: most men don't lose because they don't see the red flags. They lose because they see them and then rationalize them. They call entitlement high standards. They call secrecy privacy. They call manipulation her trauma. They call inconsistency she's complicated. They call disrespect tests. And then they invest harder to win a woman who was never aligned. Here's the hard truth: you don't fix patterns by loving harder. You fix patterns by leaving earlier. You can't rescue someone out of a personality structure. You can't buy respect. You can't negotiate boundaries with someone who benefits from breaking them. What you can do is protect your life, because the wrong woman doesn't just waste your time. She drains your confidence. She distracts your mission. She turns you into a version of yourself you don't respect. So don't argue with red flags. Don't negotiate with patterns. Don't try to be the hero. Walk away like a man who values his future. Because the strongest men aren't the ones who handle the wrong woman. They're the ones who recognize her early and keep their peace intact. If you want more calm, masculine tools like this: standards, boundaries, clarity, subscribe, and comment this: I choose peace